delegation from Nigeria was in Niamey, the capital of Niger Republic, on Wednesday for a meeting with Nigerian officials in a move aimed at restoring the damaged bilateral ties between both countries. Now, according to reports, the delegation was led by Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Maitama-Tuga. The visit marks a significant step in mending relations strained since the July 2023 coup in Niger. Tuga delivered a special message from President Bola Tinubu to Nigerian Head of State General Abdurrahman Chiani. A communique issued by the two parties states that the discussions took place in a climate of great cordiality and provided an opportunity for an in-depth examination of the challenges facing the two countries and major current issues at the sub-regional, regional, and international levels. Arise News analyst Dayo Sobowale joins us now to discuss why it has become inevitable for Nigeria and her northwesternmost neighbor to pursue the option of peace at this point in time. Thank you so much for joining us. And let's begin with the basics. Why would you say, or what would you say prompted Nigeria's attempt to move forward with this peace deal? Looking at the sanctions that have been put in place initially, what prompted this very decision?
Well, it's a pleasure being here, as usual. That is pragmatic diplomacy. Pragmatic diplomacy. And it's based on a very simple dictum. In foreign relations or diplomacy, there are no permanent enemies or friends or permanent interests. That's what we have seen. You know, the antecedent to this, the military coup of about 2 years ago, in July, and the move by ECOWAS to call the coupists to order, which, you know, had so many undertones, both internally and externally. And eventually, the three states involved in the Alliance, Association of Sahel States, broke away. And just recently, they even imposed tariffs on trade with the rest of ECOWAS. But to me, it shows that the morals that obtain amongst individuals is not the same thing as the morals between states. Let's leave it at that for now.
All right, Mr. Sobowale, let's talk about the alignment with Russia. Do you think Niger's increasing alignment with Russia has influenced Nigeria's recalculation of this diplomatic approach?
Yeah, does the relationship with Russia coming? Well, I don't see it on the horizon. Nobody has mentioned it. Niger is a francophone state. Russia is a state looking for a leg or a foot in any African state. You get me? But since the war in Ukraine started, they have withdrawn into their country to look after their country in the war against the whole of the West. So let's deal with Niger here. Next question.
Okay, so let's talk about this, the fact that the Niger junta basically remains in power. Now, a lot of people would say that, in a way, Tinubu was too quick to back sanctions with regards to this situation, even hinted at a military intervention. Some might also say that stance may have also backfired. Do you agree that it may have?
It has not backfired. It was the right move at the right time and in the name of democracy. See, democracy is the hot cake in terms of ideology all over the world, all over the free world where people value human rights, and freedom of speech, and freedom of movement. ECOWAS did the right thing, trying to check them. But then we had internal problems of our own. So people putting pressure on our president that those people are their cousins. And I'm happy with that. Eventually,
but did it hurt our relationship with them, which is what critics are now addressing, saying that that decision to suspend them, did it hurt our relationship with them? Did that isolation strategy fail?
It has to. We put sanctions on them. It has to hurt our relationship with them. But please, let us deal with what the Minister of Foreign Affairs has gone to do in Niamey. That's a welcome development. In spite of all the acrimony over the coup and the reaction of ECOWAS, they are trying to form, to open up their two countries to trade, to market, to transportation, and all that. Those are positive developments.
Well,
and that's the meaning of detente. We have to what?
Yeah, we do have to balance it, you know, even
that's
if
what I'm trying
that's
to
a
do.
great perspective. But
we are going in a different direction from the topic.
No, we're not. We're definitely on
topic. What has Russia got to do with it?
So what would you...
Anyway, if Nigeria...
You have said, you even said that the deed affects relations. Why will it not affect relations when we are threatening to send soldiers to stop them?
Okay, so
but in spite of that, there is this bilateral move now, which shows that even when the colonialists are not around, African nations are capable of dealing with each other. That's commendable.
Commendable.
Yes.
Great. Now, if Nigeria successfully brokers improved relations with Niger's military government, does this undermine ECOWAS's collective stance against military takeovers?
It does not. That still stands. But you see, you have to deal with situations pragmatically as they are. This is bilateral something between Nigeria and Niger. It's not an ECOWAS issue. Just so happens that Tinubu happens to be chairman of ECOWAS. But this is a bilateral thing. And they say it will continue because the pool resources on security and the two ministries of defense will talk to each other. That's what is on the ground. Let's discuss it.
So how would you then assess the Ministry of, since of course that's something that you are very passionate about, yes. The Minister of Foreign Affairs' visit? Oh, of course, I don't mind it. That's which is why I would like you to expand on that. No, that's what I'm saying. So how about we expand on, you know, what the Minister of Foreign Affairs, you know, had to say basically, what they basically would like us to, you know, pay more attention to. What's your assessment of that entire trip? Of the conversation that was had in the MA? I say I like it. Okay. You have not mentioned it. No, please go ahead. It's talking of construction of Trans-Saharan Highway, construction the railway line which Buhari started, you get me? Which was stopped because of this sanctions. They are resuming that. Even fiber optic, so many ways of opening up the country, fighting desertification, security. This is commendable. Hitherto, Francophone states don't on their own come to deal with Nigeria. They must get the blessing of France. But now they've discarded France in these three nations, and Niger, which is especially our own neighbor, is talking directly to us. I'm happy with that. It's a sort of a show of emancipation of Niger from the yoke of France as a quasi-colonial power leading them. But now, even though they are a military regime, that is the nature of their own government. In international relations, you don't cross borders and be wrecking havoc. You respect state borders. That is the pragmatism of it. They have a military regime, we have a democratic regime. But it does not mean that ECOWAS is sanctioning that, is approving of that military regime. What kind of learn from?
No problem. What precedent, though, might this set for other ECOWAS members that might deal with similar situations in the near future? When we look at this case, others can follow. ECOWAS is a body state. That's a multilateral body. But this is the bilateral agreement. As at now, Benin has blocked the pipeline they are using to import oil from China. Whereas we were going to fund that pipeline before, but because of this crisis, they closed the border. So maybe eventually this will open up the border. This international relations, please, it's not static. Next question.
Well, that will be all. Thank you so much for joining us today.